Hey there, I'm Anthony Romano, and this video is on taking ketones as a pre-workout. So, I've made a billion videos on ketone supplements, okay? For those of you who don't know me, I've been doing keto for 8 years and keto bodybuilding that time, and I've been, training in the gym, bodybuilding for longer than that, almost 10 years basically. And essentially, ketone supplements are a very complicated product. But essentially, once you know how to use them, they're a fantastic addition to a pre-workout, whether you're on a carb diet or a keto diet. And I made videos on taking ketones on a carb metabolism, but this is just in general the benefits as far as pre-workout goes, because there's millions of benefits, well, not millions, but there's loads of benefits. You have increased oxygen uptake to your brain, better ability to focus, appetite suppression, all those other things that are separate from workouts, but this video is on workouts. So, get ready. Buckle your seatbelt, and also go to my website if you want personal coaching, if you want to look at my programs that I have up, my free guides on certain things, keto bodybuilding merchandise, etc. So, let's get into ketones as a pre-workout. If you've seen my other video on some of the best keto pre-workout advice, it is that you should take potassium, okay? Because essentially there is a sodium-potassium pump in your muscles. And that can, of course, increase your performance because of a better ability to hydrate yourself, better electric conductivity, etc. But the main point of this is that you have full electrolytes, assuming you have a good ketone product, in your ketone salt, because these are ketones attached to salt in order to lower their pH so you can consume them. Now, typically you should have potassium in here. It will generally come because anytime you supplement with an electrolyte, you have to supplement with other electrolytes in order to avoid depleting your body of other electrolytes. So if you supplement with sodium, you could deplete your potassium. So then they have to put potassium in here, and then because they put potassium in here, they have to put magnesium, and then because they put magnesium in here, they have to put calcium. So essentially, it's a whole, you should generally end up with a product that has a load of other electrolytes in there, okay? And that's generally a good indication that it's a good ketone product. But at the same time, again, I recommend these guys, Athletic Alliance. They're not paying me for this. I just very much think they have one of the best ketone products on the market. And part of the reason is because of how masterfully they've managed the electrolyte side of things. So, I've explained in the beginning, you will gain amazing appetite suppression. You will gain clearer mental focus, right? I often use this stuff as a substitute to coffee if I have to work in the evening. But that's not the point here, okay? This is about workout performance in the gym or sport environment. Now, interestingly enough, in a sports game, I've used this stuff and noticed dramatic benefits. It's almost as if a lot of times on a carb metabolism, you really have to manage your blood sugar, and you'll have these spikes and falls depending on what you ate beforehand, depending on how quickly your body uses glucose. And the studies have shown a consensus base. Well, I wouldn't call it a consensus at this point. I don't know if it fits the criteria for that. But a lot of the studies have shown that there is an undeniable link between more stable usage of glucose when you are in a keto state than carb state, which is ironic because you'd think if you're running on carbs, you would use them more effectively. That's actually not true. You will gain a better ability to use carbs if you take this stuff. So that's another reason why when it comes to essentially sport performance, what you will notice is you won't be losing focus as much. You will be much more streamlined and level-headed, okay? And also you'll have a better endurance fuel because ketones are a very powerful fuel for your brain, and also fat. The keto state is very beneficial because fat is a slower burning fuel, and you aren't subject to, the volatility of glucose and its fast burning nature. So when we're looking at using this in a gym environment, you have increased VO2 max, which again plays in very well in the endurance side of things when it comes to sports, because a better ability to uptake oxygen is the primary indicator of fitness. VO2 max is literally one of the biggest indicators of personal fitness, and that's why I made another video on that about how this stuff should be the #1 scientific discovery of the past, year, or past few years since they've been prevalent, because literally you gain a higher ability to uptake oxygen when you're in the keto state. Now granted, if you're not an athletic individual and you're not keto adapted in any way or haven't used ketone supplements in the past, you're going to get better. Your body will gain a better physiological ability to use ketones the more you use them. So, that's hard to measure, but if you've never used ketones before and you use it, you'll probably feel lower blood sugar than you normally do, which is why I, again, recommend very small doses of this stuff when you're at the start of using them, because two reasons. Number one, you don't ever want to shock your body with too much of a supplement or something new. Okay, so that's on you. That's your own liability. And also, because consuming too much MCT or electrolytes can make you have to shit yourself. So don't do that, especially if you're going to go play sports or work out in the gym, because what you want to be careful of is overdoing electrolyte consumption, okay? That's essentially the main point here. So start off with a small dose, maybe half dose or even quarter dose for your first few times. Sure, it's not going to be as effective as when you eventually are able to consume the full dose, but it's still very powerful. So, and you will probably notice a difference. But for the people who are able to take this stuff, or you've been experimenting in a, low outcome environment, right, where you're not like playing the championship game or something like that, that is when you can start to feel out what benefits you like the best, because you will feel this. You will feel this product take effect on you. And in the gym, increased vasodilation. This is a vasodilator in some ways, especially because you have the salt potassium pump. But at the same time, you also have increased lactate clearance. So basically, your body gains a better ability to get rid of lactic acid. And this is something I've made a comment with with Dominic D'Agostino, who's a very, prevalent, one of the biggest sources on keto dieting for the past decade, because he worked heavily with it from the neuroscientist perspective. So I made a comment on that, basically increased oxygen uptake and increased clearance of lactic acid buffering. So essentially, when you get tired and fatigued and sore in your muscles and you can't continue, that is partially because of basically lactic acid building up, and you want to clear it quicker. So this stuff will absolutely help you with that. And it sounds so nonchalant when I'm explaining this, but these are powerful benefits. These are things that, athletes all around the world should be using. And that is why I've made video series on the athletes that do use this stuff, and they're all so dominant. The New Zealand rugby team, one of the most dominant teams out there. I actually haven't made that video yet. LeBron James uses a keto metabolism in the summertime, in the off season, and the preseason. And I mean, doesn't mean he's using ketone supplements, but his body is making them endogenously, okay? So that means his own production. LeBron James, even Cristiano Ronaldo has a low-carb diet that would absolutely allow him to tap into ketosis here and there. And I've made that video. It was, from sources that seem to be reputable on his diet plan, and also other athletes. I mean, Tyson Fury, okay, has used a keto metabolism. It's all about the seasonal effect of your metabolism, okay? So let me explain a concept here that I explained in my, ketones on a carb diet video. Your body, everything is seasonal. Your metabolism is seasonal. There's a fat metabolism, so ketones, and a carb metabolism. And your body is meant to oscillate between the two. There's day and night. There's basically summer and winter. Everything is seasonal, okay? And chaos order. There's this yin and yang of everything that governs the world, okay? If you want to look at it that way. And the thing is, a lot of people have lost touch with the fat side of the metabolism. And this is one way to start incorporating it again, which is the main premise of that video I was explaining. But in general, even if you're not doing a keto diet, this can kind of reset your metabolism in a certain way, reset your insulin sensitivity in certain ways, allow you to have a better ability to use glucose, even if you start switching over to a carb diet after a certain point. So I'm not telling you that, taking ketones is going to immediately give you that, but accessing the keto state is going to help you get more in touch with that side of your metabolism that realistically your body would have been jumping back and forth between if this was prehistoric times. Because think about it, what carb sources grow in the winter? If you were living in the Arctic, if you were living in a winter time thousands of years ago, no carbs grow. Fruits don't grow, grains don't grow, vegetables don't grow. No carb sources exist. So for half of the year, it was impossible. It would be very hard to be in a carb metabolism unless you fermented foods of some sort. And realistically, most carb foods don't last longer than a few weeks, okay? So unless you ship them over from Mexico, and that certainly wouldn't have been available. So your body is meant to jump back and forth between these two metabolic states, and this is one way to kind of get a little bit more in touch with that, and it will show up in your workout performance. So I highly recommend that you test this out in a safe manner. Again, start off small if you are going to get into this. Of course, I have links in the description that you can get some of my recommendations of some of the best ketone products, but at the end of the day, the ball's in your court, okay? If you want to go to a local supplement retailer or something like that, go for it. Just the main thing I've realized is that a lot of people don't understand this product. They don't understand how to use it. And I guarantee you, within the next 10 years, you are going to see athletes using this like crazy. In fact, the reason we have these products available is because the US military was trying to use them, and I made a video on that as well. So the US military was working on using this as part of their metabolic dominance program, which is a pretty badass name for a military program. But at the same time, this is absolutely something we're going to be seeing developing over the next 10 years. And if you want to be ahead of the curve and improve your performance in the gym and in other sports gameplay, I absolutely believe you can use this to your advantage. Half the time I use it for mental advantage when I'm studying, or when I would be studying various things or reading books and making programs for people, making programs that I'm writing for, for YouTube in general, right? Things like that. So there's a lot of avenues this can increase your performance, especially when it comes to increased oxygen intake, which should be mind blown right there. Lactic acid buffering, mind blown again, okay? And other benefits like vasodilation, etc., and increased ability to use carbs in the grand scheme of things. So lots of other benefits like that as you experiment more with other keto tactics, fasting, ketogenic dieting, keto supplements, things of that nature. So make sure, if you are going to mess around with this stuff, get a high quality one. And besides that, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you check out my website if you want to work together coaching, if you want to experiment with some of my free guides, okay? If you want to check out my programs and keto bodybuilding merchandise that is going to be up on the site. So, thank you for watching. Leave me some comments if I can help you with anything that's relevant to this. And besides that, I'm Anthony Romano. Peace.